Jagradav, Jai Masters. There are many, many techniques that different traditions teach you. When it's all said and done, there is only one way home. Doesn't mean that all the different techniques aren't beneficial in leading you to that doorway, but the only door that leads to the infinite is the seat of consciousness, the self, the Atman. Call it whatever you want. I don't like calling it anything because it makes it sound like something you should go read about or study about or have a discussion about it or have some class about it. That's the silliest thing in the whole world. You are it. That's how it should be seen. There is not a single thought that you have, nice or not nice, that you are not aware of that thought. If you weren't aware of the thought, who cares? Maybe there are tons of thought you're not aware of. Who cares? But when you have a thought, you know you had thought, don't you? You're conscious of the thought. I had this thought. This thought is bothering me. My thoughts were really nice today. Who is experiencing the thought? That is the way out, no matter what other technique you practice, no matter what tradition, religion, anything. That is the way out. There's no other way out. You're not going to get out through your mind. You're not going to get through your heart. The consciousness, your essence of consciousness, is what is aware of your thoughts. It is aware of your emotions. That's it. That's all you need to learn. Just let that be what is. Like, I'm sitting here in the room and I see you guys. I don't have to do anything about that. Do I? I don't have to try. Make sure you see him. I just see. It's called just seeing. You all are just seeing if you don't do anything about it. If you don't say, oh, I'd rather see her, I don't like what I'm seeing. That's interfering with just seeing. Otherwise, you're just seeing. It's effortless. How hard is it for you to see what's in front of you? You better struggle. You better meditate. You better do something. No, you don't do anything. You just see what's in front of you. It's the exact same thing inside. There are things inside, just like there are things outside. Outside there's people, places, things, religious icons, this, that, and the other thing, weather, everything. Inside, there's thoughts, all different flavors, and there's emotions, all different flavors, and there's sensations from the body, and there's experiencing the outside. The trouble is that you can't do that. What do you mean? You can't just see inside like you just see outside. You have to struggle. You have to meditate. You have to concentrate. You have to do a mantra. You have to do something to do what? To see what's going on in there. I don't understand. You see what's going on in there. There's emotions coming from the heart. Do you see them? You feel them. There's thoughts being created in the mind, correct? But you get so distracted by them. That's the whole key of your spiritual journey. You can't have a thought and just see the thought. I wonder if he likes me. It's a thought. That's like there's a person sitting there. He's wearing red. He's wearing a mask. He's not wearing a mask. You understand that? You just see what is. No judgment, no concern, nothing, just see. You're like a camera. A camera takes a picture. It doesn't care what it's looking at. It doesn't know a single thing about it. It just is observing what came in through its lens. So when you look outside, you're capable. You don't do it a lot, but you're capable. But in fact, that's not true. You do it plenty of times. There's plenty of times you're just driving down the road, the trees are going by, the white lines are going by, cars are going by, and you're just there. You're just there seeing. That's what just seeing means in Buddhism, okay? As opposed to judging and not liking it, adding color to it, right? You're just seeing. But inside, you should be able to do the same thing. It's the same consciousness that's seeing the thoughts, that's experiencing the emotions, that sees the outside. There's just one consciousness in there. And when you get to the point where you can just be in there, and a thought goes by, I wonder if he likes me, I wonder if she likes me. And it's just a thought, it's like a cloud. It's just like anything else you see. It's just a noise maker that made a little noise in your mind. Well, what if emotions came up? And they came up. Something came up, you felt a little fear. You just noticed. Do you notice you feel fear? Do you notice you feel insecurity? Ever notice you feel embarrassment? Ever notice you feel self-conscious? So what? They're just feelings. They're just things you notice. When you get to the point that they're just things you notice and thoughts are just noise that the mind decides to say at different times, Okay? It does it by itself. You don't have to make your mind say things you wish you didn't. It just never shuts up. I wonder if he likes me. Well, should I call so-and-so? What happens is the very thought, I wonder if she likes me, is important to you. It's more important than God. It's more important than sitting in the seat of self and finding out where you... Ultimately, what is the entire highest thing? Consciousness is very high. When you reach the state of witness consciousness, and you can watch everything coming and going, at some point, it's very deep, it will dawn on you that you came from somewhere. You won't think it. It's not a thought. It's just, whoa. And you seek the source of consciousness. And I almost cry to say it. That's the highest thing I could ever say to you. A great being seeks the source of consciousness. How? By going to the Himalayas? Of course not. Consciousness is inside. There's no more in the Himalayas than it is anywhere else. It's inside of you. You're conscious. How do I learn to be conscious? You are conscious. Noticing your mind that said, where do I need to go? How do I learn to be conscious? Ha 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 ha. Your consciousness watched that. I told you, Yogananda, he was once asked, in a public place, somebody ran up to him, Yogananda, I want to know God. I want to know God. He turned around nonchalantly and said, He dwells right behind your every thought. That's as deep as it comes. What dwells right behind your every thought? The consciousness that experienced and is aware of the thought. Is it not? If it's not there, the thought might as well not do anything. The awareness of being is your doorway to God. And it's always there. The trouble is, you can have thoughts that you're not able to just have the thought. The thought catches you. Well, what if he doesn't like me? I don't want to get hurt again. And then one thought multiplies and another thought happens. And next thing you know, you're not in witness consciousness. You're in the thoughts. You got pulled in. You got distracted. So the whole thing is, can you sit inside and not get distracted by these personal thoughts? It's so hard. I can't get everything in at once. There are intellectual thoughts, abstract thoughts, impersonal thoughts that you don't know it yet, but your consciousness, your will, can purposely and willfully create those thoughts in order to do what's called thinking. You can analyze, you can think. That's a very great thing. We used to be cave dwellers. Now you look at that, you flew to the moon. That's because you used your mind not for, did he like me? I wonder what I should do now. That's called the personal mind. It's using the mind for personal stuff. The other is using the mind for analytical, abstract, very great things. Right now, you have the ability to see Andromeda Galaxy. You've seen pictures of a galaxy. I want you to see it in your mind. There's a galaxy. Okay? Your mind's a very great thing. That's very different than, oh my God, I wonder if he's out with somebody else. What would I do? Should I hire somebody to check? No, that wouldn't be good. Those thoughts are the problem. It's not that thoughts are a problem. Thoughts are not a problem. It's the personal thoughts that are so distracting that you can't have abstract thoughts. I can't work today. She didn't call me. She said she would call me. I don't want to go to work. I can't even think straight. Hear me? Because you have thoughts that are so powerful to you that they distract your consciousness so much that you're not even aware that you're conscious of them. You're the thought. That's what you are. You're lost into that thought. You get addicted and distracted by the thought. Then it generates other thoughts. The next thing you know, you're in there completely lost in yourself. And that's where almost everybody spends their entire life. Maybe once in a while they write a symphony, or they create something, or they come up with some great thought or whatever. Otherwise they're thinking, what are they thinking? I'm not okay. I don't feel good. How do I be okay? How do I find somebody? I think I need a new relationship. I'm not doing real well with this one. Anybody have thoughts like that? I don't know about my career. I've decided this career some years ago, but I'm really not sure. But I'm embarrassed to do anything about it because my parents are so mad at me. They won't. What do I do? How should I tell it to them? That's what your mind sounds like. What good is that? All it does is create ulcers for you, neurosis, insecurity, all kinds of junk, and then you can't interact with the outside in a constructive way. The only way you can interact with the outside is to go to the exact thought pattern that's all screwed up and say, oh, screwed up thought pattern. What do I need to do? What does everybody else need to do so that you feel better? And then tell me how to do it. And you come up with this plot and plan of how you should look and how you should dress and how you should behave and what you should say, what you shouldn't say, and what you should drive, every single thing, how you should present yourself, and then what you should do. If you think that somebody thinks that maybe you didn't do it right, what should I do? Hear me, it's pretty complicated in there, isn't it? But it's not really complicated. It's very, very simple. You're not okay in there. Of course you're not. You're staring at a mind that's not okay. Aren't you? And it's trying to figure out how to be okay. Then it's trying to figure out how to get what it figured out it needed in order to be okay. And it also is figuring out what it better avoid and how to make sure it doesn't ever happen again. I don't like what you said. I can't believe you said that. There's no way in the world I'm tolerating you saying that again. Now, how do I deal with this for the rest of my days to make sure you don't say it again? Because I remember always that you said it because it bothered me. What are you doing? That's what you did with your mind? And you think the solution is to come up with what the sick mind says, well, if he brought me flowers on the anniversary, since he forgot it last time, if he opened the door for me, it's basically saying what has to happen and what does everybody need to do in order for me to be okay. The me being my disturbed mind. And if it didn't work, you change it. I've literally had people tell me, for years I've been trying to present myself like this. I just don't feel it's working. I'm going to change how I present myself. Wow. You're not presenting the self. I can tell you that right now. You've created a fake you that you think will make your thoughts and your heart be better, and now you're going to go out there and try to sell it to everybody. Ever many people like that? Ever done it? That is not spiritual. But I picked a spiritual thing to make believe I am, and no, that's still not spiritual. The only thing that is spiritual is the consciousness. And the consciousness can't stay just being the consciousness because it gets distracted by these thoughts and emotions. And then it all multiplies out as to what do I do about that? Because I don't like those thoughts. I don't like the thought that somebody might not have liked me in the past even. Go to your high school reunion 20 years later. No. I like why you would say yes. I was popular. I want to go see everybody. Let them see how well I'm doing, et cetera, et cetera. Or no. No, high school was the worst thing I ever had. I don't want to see those people again. I'm embarrassed. Tell me the truth. Does stuff go on in there? Okay. I'm begging you. That is not a way to live your life. And then struggle to try to make it be okay. You don't realize you're the one who made it not okay. You're the one who sat there and said, well, maybe he didn't like what I said. Have you ever thought maybe you didn't like what I said and find out the next time you saw, God, but you said that? That was the nicest thing I ever heard. I have. It's just hilarious, right? You don't know squat. Does it tend toward the negative? Does it tend toward the negative? Embarrassment or shame and this and guilt. Does it remember things from any length of time in the past that bothered you? Even though they're not happening and they will never happen again. Yes or no? That's a problem. Well, what is the solution? To learn that you are the consciousness that is watching a disturbed mind. That's what that is. The ego mind is a disturbed mind, is watching a disturbed mind that's not okay, trying to figure out how to get everybody and everything in the world to be a certain way so they can feel better about it. And make sure it doesn't ever happen again, even close, that made me not be okay. But wait a minute, we went to Hawaii. Yeah, but it was terrible. There were roaches in the room. Well, we go to a different hotel. No, I'm never going back to Hawaii. I love it. One experience. I always teach you that. One experience, and you know what's going on, don't you? I met him. Man, he's absurd. That's terrible. Well, it just so happened that his mother died just before you met him, okay? That doesn't mean that's how he is. You met him once, but you do that all the time. You take one single bit of data, which probably had a lot to do with what state you were in, not just him, all right? And then it's just how it is. No, I already met him. I don't want to do that. The one I pick a lot, and no one ever tells me no, is you were married to a guy named Ben, right? And he was a real schnook, and you got divorced, and now your girlfriends are trying to fix you up, and they see a picture of somebody look really interesting. They say, well, he said he would go on a date with you, at least just one date. Really? Okay, he looks interesting. What's his name? Ben. No way. I've had enough Ben for my entire lifetime. That's the personal mind. While you are caught up in that, you can make believe you know something about God, but you don't. You know what your God is? The one that will give you what you decided you wanted to be okay. Oh, God, please let her like me. Please don't let his name be Ben. Anything but Ben. Well, very good. God's this wishing well that's supposed to satisfy what your disturbed mind figured out might make you okay. As opposed to you who's in there noticing the disturbed mind. It's consciousness. It's the highest thing in the universe. And so basically, our consciousness is the doorway to God. That is the truth. That is the way, the path, and the life. That's what Christ was talking about. No man cometh unto the Father except through that which is of the Father, which is Shakti, which is consciousness. And so basically, when you get back there, and you can stay back there because you don't get distracted by this silly little mind, the personal mind. You're not addicted to the personal mind. You're not addicted to serving the personal mind. I'll do whatever you tell me what you want me to do so you can feel good and not stop complaining. Oh my God, it's so hot. Watch. Oh my God, it's so hot. I can't believe it's so hot. What do I do? Well, do you want to move up north? No, it snows up north. You start literally trying to figure out how you can say something to a stupid mind so it stops complaining. Does anybody's mind ever complain? This is the foundation of spirituality. It's not about figuring out how to not complain, how to do so, make the food exactly what you want, make the person be exactly what you want, make the weather be exactly what you want, so your mind's not complaining. It's about learning to look at that mind and say, hello, not a chance in the world am I going anywhere by hanging out with you. Because you'll find another thing to complain about, won't it? Okay? And now I'm serving the lowest part of my being. I'm serving the part of my being that is not happy with anything. But I'm trying to create a world around me that will make it so that it's appeased. So you wake up and you realize what spirituality is about. It's not about renunciation. It's not about denying what you like. It's not about anything like that. It's about remaining seated in the seat of self. You're conscious. That's what the seat of self is. The place from which you are conscious. And being able to not get drawn down into the distractions of the personal mind. That is what spirituality is. Well, are there techniques? Of course there are techniques. What about positive thinking? Positive thinking is a wonderful thing. It's a beginning level step of being able to stay more conscious than you would if it was negative thinking. Negative thinking is very, very powerful. Have we noticed nowadays a lot of negativity going around, isn't it? If somebody's negative and they teach and talk negative, they will have people like them because people are negative. They're stimulating that part. Hitler did that. You're stimulating that part of the being that's not okay, and then you associate with that. But it's not just politics. It happens all over the place. Watch a advertisement about deodorant. They're touching your embarrassment. You don't want to smell. So that basically it tends toward the negative. So positive thinking is a very constructive way to neutralize some of the negative thoughts. As opposed to, if you go and take meditation, which is why I don't teach meditation. I meditate. It's good to meditate, very good to meditate. But a lot of people teach meditation. I'm interested in talking to you about how you can deal with yourself to remain seated in the self. That's all. All right? But positive thinking, what's an example of positive thinking? It's unbelievable. You're driving down the road, and the driver in front of you is driving slow. 10 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour below the speed limit, and you're in a rush. You know darn well what's going on inside your mind. Right? Well, I'll do it as a question. Have you ever talked to the driver in front of you? Thank you. Did you know they don't listen? They don't hear you. They don't listen. You're just making yourself sick by having these negative thoughts. Come on, buddy. Nice blinker. Right? We all do it. How does that help? It doesn't. It just creates bad vibrations inside of you, negative, and then they talk about, God, I'm never going to drive down this road again. It's getting so crowded in Gainesville. It's ridiculous, like New York City. All right? What's an alternative? You're conscious. You see this going on. Don't deny that it's going on. Don't you dare try to suppress it. I don't want to be like that. I'm not being like that. I'm not going to be like that. No, that's suppression. You are like that. It is like that. And you're denying. It's called denial. Some people call it spiritual bypassing. That's the big thing nowadays. All right? No, we're not going to do that. We're going to look at it and say, well, yeah, nice thoughts, buddy. Thank you for such a nice day. Okay? And then you use positive thinking. What does that mean? You look at the car in front of you and you say, my grandmother is on her last years of being able to drive herself around, and it means a lot to her. So this may be somebody's grandmother. I'm not going to tailgate her or beep at her. I'm going to give her a gift. I'm going to be nice to her that she's driving like that and give her the space. She has the right to drive like that. I'm glad she gets to drive like that. That feels a lot better, doesn't it? Who stopped you from doing that? Nobody. You just bother to assert your will to raise your thoughts. And it's very powerful. I told you the one that I know you all get, right? I usually tell it at the end. Good, we're early. We can tell some examples, right? Sometimes it's hot out, especially in Florida. Have you ever complained? Has anybody ever complained that it's so hot out? Oh my God, I'm baking, I'm melting. So you watch this. Maybe I need to go more up north. The mountains are nice up in North Carolina. All right, this is crazy. I feel the summers in Florida. Maybe I need to have a second home somewhere where it's not so hot. That's how it does, doesn't it? Yes or no? What if instead you sat there and said, excuse me, hello, Mick, why is it hot? Mickey tends to like astronomy a lot, right? He likes to think about big things. So I say to him, I remember when I did this, and it never happened again. Why is it hot? And he said, because the sun is close, it's baking, it's hot. And I said, how far is away the sun? He happens to know it's 93 million miles away. I asked him, how far away is Miami? He said, 360 miles, 93 million, 360 miles. If every single building in Miami caught fire, you would not feel one single thing up here. It would not change 1 degree, period. That thing's 93 million miles away, and you're complaining about its heat. All of a sudden, he shuts up a little bit. Well, that's pretty far out. And then I ask him, wait, is it really a sun? The sun's so hot, right? It's a star. It is one of those twinkling little things that you see up there with the Big Dipper and Orion. It's a star. You are close enough to a star to feel its heat. That's pretty far out. Have you ever thought about that? You're close enough to a star that you can feel its radiant. That thing must be hot, all right? And then I tell you what I always tell you, that 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. And you're this tiny little ball of dirt spinning around this giant star, and you can feel the heat. That's pretty neat, isn't it? All of a sudden you go like this. I told you do not get sunburned, you get starburned. Can't you make it fun? You don't have to leave it negative. You have every right in the world to raise it up to another level. What if you did that with everything? When your boss comes up to you, says, you turn this thing in, this is ridiculous. This is what I asked for, and so on and so forth. He's talking to you. And your mind is in there saying, no, George turned that in. I didn't turn that in. But you're watching your mind complain, and you say, let's have some fun, all right? I'm sorry, we'll do better next time. You cover George. All of a sudden, it's a nice experience. You get to tell George, hey, let's work on this thing. The boss didn't like it. He thought I did it, all right? Wouldn't it be nicer than to sit there, I didn't do that, George did that. And you start working with yourself. You start doing what I told you. Every moment that passes before you is an opportunity to make something nicer. Okay? You made it nicer with the way the person was driving. You made it nicer because of the way the sun was. You made it nicer because you handled the fact that your boss was yelling at you. And you helped your friend. And just all of a sudden you just start raising energy. That's what you're in there for. I'm here to raise energy. Do I have a mind that tends toward negativity? Tends toward defensiveness? Of course you do. Why? Because you have an ego. Well, why is ego like that? That's so easy. It's silly. What is ego? Ego is the fact that your consciousness is looking at this body, looking at this mind, and looking at your emotions. And it is identified with them so much that it says, that's who I am. I am my body, I am my thought patterns, and I am my emotions. I better protect them. Maybe you need to protect your body, but you don't need to protect your thought patterns, and you don't need to protect your emotions. No, you don't. And the very fact that you think you do means you have all these it's called a self-concept. That's what the ego is. This is who I think I am. Notice, who I think I am. What is a concept? Is a concept a reality? No, a concept is something the mind makes up. So you made you up, didn't you? You made up who you are. I'm the person that played Dorothy in 5th grade. No, you're not. You're the person, if you didn't play Dorothy, you'd still be there. I'm so-and-so's husband or wife. No, you're not. That's not who you are. That's an experience you had. You got married. If you get divorced, you'll still be there. Yes or no? You're defining yourself falsely. So that's called a self-concept. So now you have to defend it. Why? Because it's not real. I don't have to defend the fact that I have a hand. I don't have to have a concept about the fact that I have a hand or a nose. It's just the way things are. So I have a mind. I don't own it. It has nothing to do with me. That's when you've transcended your ego. But it's going to have this tendency to defend itself, doesn't it? So you have the tendency to want people to think a certain way about it. It has a way it thinks about itself, so it projects it onto other people. Ego is a very, very funny thing. Somebody wants to ask Yogananda, a great enlightened master, what is the ego? Wow. He didn't go to Freud. He didn't develop all kinds of theories, didn't write books. You ready? He said, the masquerading self. In other words, you in there, the consciousness, grabbed a mask made out of thoughts and emotions, pulled it around yourself so you would know how to act and know how to be, and try to sell yourself so you can get accepted and not be rejected. And that mask is ego. But behind it is the consciousness that's watching everything. So basically you come to a point that if you keep being positive and you keep raising your thoughts and finding wonderful ways to make it constructive, right? Somebody does something that you don't like, immediately, what do I do? How to make sure it doesn't happen again? Blah, blah, blah. Shh. Slow down. First of all, if somebody does something you don't like, what are you going to do about it? Can you make it not have happened? Well, then that can't be my objective. It can't be my objective of my interaction with that person to make it not have happened because it did happen. So what is my objective? To make them feel bad because it happened? Well, that's not an objective. What you're trying to say is, I need to make sure it doesn't happen again. How's that? Is that not really the objective of every single thing you do? Make sure, yell at them, make them feel bad, make them feel guilty. Why? So that they don't do it again. Okay? Now you be intelligent. And you sit there and say, if I make that person feel bad or feel guilty or ashamed, is that really going to make sure they don't do it again? It's going to make them be broken. It's going to make them not be a friend. It's going to make them not like me and me not like them. And is that really a solution to what's going on? And so you quiet down for your initial reaction and you sit there and say, what is the most constructive way to make sure they don't do it again? Honestly, you have the right to say that. You have the right to say, no, I don't want this to happen again. I didn't tell you to want it to happen again. But you become conscious and clear. You say, what, not emotionally, not reaction-wise, what is the clearest path and most likely thing I can do to be sure that doesn't happen again? All right? Master used to say, you attract more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. So yelling at that person, degrading them, telling everybody how terrible they did, I'm telling you that is not the highest way to assure that they don't do it again or do something else, right? Because you just made them feel lowly. They need to do things to feel better. They'll talk bad about you. Do you understand that? So what do? You come as a friend and you sit there and say, hey, like, we noticed that this happened and so on, right? Here's a constructive, why do you think that had to happen? Like, how, whatever. You just actually do that which you have clearly seen is the highest thing you can do to help this person, help them be positive, help them be constructive, help them feel good about themselves so that they understand that this is not going to happen again, all right? But threatening them, it doesn't do anything. Anything you do to make somebody suppress their behavior is coming back up, especially if you're married to somebody. You're living with them, and you're going to start treating them like that. I told you I don't like when you did that. I don't like to talk about that. What are you doing? You're making a person that's close to you. You're making a person that's afraid of you. Yes or no? We do it, don't we? And so you start from the beginning. You look at something and you say, no, I don't want my ego to do that. I want to raise, not that I'm not going to interact with it, but I want to have it from the highest place I can because that will constructively deal with stuff. There are people who go through things in relationship that you would think, wow, how could they ever tolerate that somebody did that? And it helped the relationship so much. The fact that they stayed friends and that they were able to help the person, right? Maybe somebody went to AA for years and got all their little chips, and then they were found that there was some alcohol in the house, right? Out, get out. No, maybe not the first time, right? Maybe, oh my God, are we having a problem again? How can we deal with that? You know, I'm here for you. That's very different, isn't it? Okay? You all getting very quiet. All of that is part of positive thinking, as opposed to going with the negative, reactive garbage that you have stored inside yourself and then dumping it on somebody else or dumping it on the world. You can bring it nice inside. That's a very strong, constructive way to work with yourself. It's not the highest way. Why? Because you're still working with thoughts. You're not dealing with consciousness. You're dealing with somewhat higher awareness of being, but you're working with your thoughts. But still, it's a very wonderful thing to do, and you should at least do that. Just make it a game. At least do that. How do I make this positive? How do I work with this in a positive, constructive manner as opposed to dumping? Because every one of you know dumping does not work. You don't want to be like that. So one constructive way to get closer to working with your personal mind is to work on positive thinking. It's a wonderful thing to do. You should be able to do it, and it will change your life. And it will change the life of everybody around you, too. The question becomes, how willing are you to do it? Like people who read The Surrender Experiment, they love to throw in my face, you really drove home to this place where you like to live alone and someone's building a house that you never told them they could and just let it happen? Yeah, because I'm going to use every single thing that ever happened to me to try to let go of me. And Mickey didn't like that. That somebody was building a little hut up the hill, and I never said they could, and never even asked. I was on vacation for a month, and I come back and building a house. That's one story in the Surrender Experiment that people just can't handle that. Well, it's not, no, big deal. So there's a little hut in the woods, big deal, all right? Fine, 10 acres, I'm 5, she's going to be on another 5 up there, something like that. Right? Is it reasonable? No, it's absurd that she'll go ahead and build a house. That's just a little hut, right? We'll go build a little hut. But I looked at it and I said, wait a minute. I'm interested in getting rid of him. That hut's not the problem. He's the problem. I can't meditate. I can't be okay. It doesn't matter you move into the woods. He's still going to talk. Okay? And so I want to get rid of him. How do I do that? By running up there and telling him to tear the hut down and screaming and yelling, how could you do this? Then I'm being him. All right? Why don't we just try to use the atomic weapon and blow him up, all right? I did, and I literally sat with him for a little while and said, no, I'm better off letting this happen and getting rid of you than I am stopping it from happening and ending up with you. Did anybody hear that? Did you follow the relationship, right? So I put on an apron, I went up the hill. I was young in those days. Went up the hill and helped to build the house, all right? And the amazing part, I know some of you read the book, but you just don't really get it. Okay, so I helped her build the house. Well, at some point she left. She was just, whatever, a wandering person. She didn't stay here that long. And the house sat there, and then all of a sudden somebody started staying at the house, all right? And ended up being my wife for 55 years. And the house kept expanding, and the kid got born, and that was that house. Oh, you mean it was meant to be there? And I wanted to tear it down. And that's the kind of things I learned. If you're willing to let go of yourself, wow, what ends up happening is phenomenal. And Yogananda, in autobiography, he quoted the Bible on the first forward page. It says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things shall be added unto you. That doesn't mean you should be abundance. All things should be added unto you. You should attract yourself whatever you want. It didn't say that. It said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. That's what it means to die to be reborn. That's what it means to be willing to let go of yourself so you can remain in the self. Let go of the ego. Willfully. Just let it go. Okay, fine. The boss yelled at you. It's phenomenal what goes on in there. And if you see the ego just being so terrible and so closed and so reactionary, right? Don't go with it. Like some people take this, I always want to have this talk. Some people read the Surrender Experiment. Most of you do very, very well with the book. But they read it and they think it means say yes to everything. Like I did with that house. It doesn't mean that in any way, shape, or form. It means if he's throwing a tizzy fit, make a choice. Is that who you want to hang out with? You like his vote? I don't like his vote. Somebody's throwing a tizzy fit saying, no, I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to do this. Then maybe I'll say, yes, we're doing this. I take him by the hand and say, it's okay. It's better if you get quiet and don't cause all this trouble than if we do the stupid thing. But if he's sitting there saying, oh my God, I'm going to do that. That's very important. Oh my God, I can't wait to do that. Oh my God, I have to do that. I don't care what anybody else wants to do. I just want to do that. Maybe I'll say no. So it's not about saying yes. I've always want to teach you that. That's not your motive. Your motive is not to get something or not get something or do or not do. It's if you're in there, have you noticed she can be hard to live with? Yes or no? Answer me. Have you noticed that if you interact the way he or she wants you to, it does not always work out so well? Have you ever noticed sometimes you're sorry that you opened your stupid mouth and let her, I used to call it, put the mouth in gear. You ever notice it doesn't work out so good, right? Because you're trying to manipulate the world to match the lowest part of your being. And yes, you'll feel better shortly, but it didn't do anything. You can manipulate people to be the way you want. They're not really the way you want. They're scared of you or they want something from you. It didn't really change anything. Nothing changed really. There's a reason for my behavior. You didn't deal with it. Do you understand that? It's like a child. A child does something, steals something, or does something, or does drugs, or who knows. They do all kinds of things. We all do. And you sit there and say, no, it's not, I can't tolerate that. You're not living in this house like that. You're not going to be like that. Well, unfortunately, you're wrong. I was like that. That is what I did. All right? And for you to tell me that you're going to make my life hell and everything and throw me out and all that kind of stuff does not change why I did that. You didn't even try to find out why I did that. Try to find out what is wrong inside that would cause me to behave that way. Okay? So that you quiet down first. You first start with acceptance. This is how you work. It's how do you get rid of that noisy mess that is the personal ego that just runs everybody's life? You learn to deal with it. You learn to understand, I'm not it, I'm watching it, and I better learn how to get along with it. The Gita is very, very deep. The Gita's got a beautiful part that says, one should raise the self with self, not trample down the self. For self, which is self's friend, can become self's foe. And it goes on from there. But it's using self with a capital A, Atman, and a lowercase I. So it's using the self, the consciousness, all right, and the lower self, that which consciousness watches. You should raise the lower self with higher self. Not trample down, not renounce and yell and scream and force and fight. You have to be conscious enough to sit there and say, okay, that's how he is, or that's how she is. You know how your ego is. You know about jealousy, you know about insecurity, you know about fear, you know about all kinds of junk garbage that goes on in there, don't you? There's a reason for that. It's not you can just go there and put a lid on it. That's called suppression. And all suppression does is lock it inside, and I guarantee you it just gets worse. It does not get better when it's locked down there. Now, guys, you guys understand what a virus is. Not only a physical virus, a computer virus, right? You get a virus in there, you don't know where it's going. It just spreads all over the place. That's what suppression does. There's never a condition that suppression is the right answer. Except if you're about to hit somebody, and the best you can do is suppress that energy temporarily, by all means. Okay? But you better go back to it. Because if you suppress energy down there, especially negative energy, that's what you suppress, it is going to rot everything that's down there. You don't want to leave any negative energy down there. Now we're having a real talk. We're talking about how to get back to the self. It's not about meditating 60 hours a day and doing this and doing different. No. It's about why am I being distracted by this ego? Why am I devoting my life to hang out with this guy or gal? And you just sit there and say, fine, well, it's the way it is, but I'm going to work my way out. That's what's called working on yourself. I'm going to work my way out, not temporarily have an experience and say, oh, you should see the experience I had. Okay, it was so amazing. How come you're talking about the past tense? How come it's always the experience I had? Basically, what I'm interested in is your spiritual state, not your spiritual experience. The spiritual experiences are things that you have and then they go away. A spiritual state is you worked on yourself and you're there. That's who you are. That's your state. And eventually your state is witness consciousness, objective observation. It's the same as I started a conversation saying, you see the room, you see your thoughts. They don't distract you enough to pull you down into them. They're there and they can get a little rioty sometimes, but you've learned how to deal with it. You've learned not to go with that. It's not a reactionary type thing. You're making conscious decisions of how to raise the self with self. You raise yourself. What happens if something happens and he or she feels jealous? You haven't felt jealous for a long time. All of a sudden you see, oh, look at that. It's ugly, isn't it? Is jealousy really pretty and beautiful? It's ugly. But it's in there and it's a human emotion. You didn't make it up. Don't be ashamed of it. That's ridiculous. You can't deal with something you're ashamed of. You can't deal with something you're afraid of. So you're the consciousness, and you see, oh, look, what somebody did, and you start seeing this little vibration, this little jealousy. Then you don't work with the person or the situation, you work with that. You sit there and look at it and say, I wonder why that came up. And you're going to see always the same thing. Because in general, I'm not okay, and I've worked to hold relationships together that will make me feel okay, and jealousy is really due to fear. I'm afraid of losing something that I think I need. You don't get jealous about what other people do. You only get jealous about people that you have a relationship with, that you need that. I don't get jealous if I don't like you anymore and I hope you leave and I see you hanging out with somebody else. Oh boy. All right? You understand what I'm saying? So jealousy has a root. And the root is I'm attached to something and I think I need it in order to be okay. And now something has happened that makes me feel challenged. that I might lose that. Everything has a cause. The cause of jealousy is fear of loss. If you don't have fear of loss, you are not jealous. And I don't just mean jealous in a relationship. What if you're jealous because somebody got the part in a play? You're afraid that you won't be respected. You're afraid that you won't achieve what you want to achieve. It's always fear of loss is what that is. So if I see that, I'm not dealing with jealousy. I'm looking behind that. Buddha say work at the root and trying to see, what am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? And what I'm afraid of is not feeling love, not being okay, not feeling successful, not feeling respected. All those different things make me not like what happened. And then you look inside and say, well, I told you, I give you so many techniques. I don't know if you see them as techniques, right? I was dropped onto a planet spinning in the middle of nowheres, of which 1.3 million fit inside one star, and there are 300 billion stars in your galaxy. And there are 2 trillion galaxies, all with hundreds of billion stars. What do I care what this little spot on this tiny little planet is going on? Okay? It's the fact that I've convinced myself that unless I get a lot of likes on Facebook or this or that or the other thing, or people, ooh, and I walk in the room and do all kinds of things, right? And don't reject me, that's what my life's about. That's a pretty shallow life. Especially, this is why I hate to tell you because you don't like it. Do you understand if the planet Earth blew up to smithereens, it just blew up, a couple of planets would change their orbit and nothing else would happen in the entire universe. They wouldn't even know you were there. Yes or no? And look what a big deal you're making out of, oh, I dropped some ketchup on my pants. I don't want to go back to work. Oh my God, she looks so much better than me. What do I do? Wake up. This is all part of positive thinking. Think more globally. Expand your frame of reference. I would love the fact that when you wake up in the morning, you're aware I woke up on the planet Earth, spinning around in little nowheres. And if somebody asks you, what'd you do today? You know what you say? A 360. I did a 360 on my axis. That's what you did today. Did you have fun? Did you enjoy your 360 on the most beautiful planet? This is called positive thinking. So basically, we have sent probes out to every single planet and all their moons, pretty much. We ain't seen squat. We can look with our Hubble and the James Webb so far away. We have never seen anything like the planet Earth. It's so easy to say, oh, it's so big there must be. I don't know whether there is or not. It's none of my business. The point is we ain't seen it. And we've been looking for a long time. And look down. When was the last time nothing was going on in front of you? No colors, no shapes, no sounds, no sights, no nothing. Challenging things to do. The planet Earth is God's idea of Disney World compared to everything else. So this is positive thinking. Appreciate the fact that there's animals, there's orchids, there's all kinds of flamingos, and all kinds of stuff. It is the Garden of Eden. It's the most beautiful thing ever could possibly be. You can go on the side of the road. There's those little yellow flowers, the little buttercups, so like just growing. Give me a break. But you don't think like that. Do you think, oh, I did a thing or I gained a pound and this is, Sally didn't say hello today. I wonder what I did. I don't know. Maybe should I check and find out? No, I don't want to bring it up because she'll think I'm jealous. That's how you want to live on this planet. And so you start waking up that what you've done, I always teach you this, you did this. The mind is not naturally negative. The mind is just a mind. Just like a computer is not naturally the dark web, but you're welcome to go there. It's a computer. It can do anything. Your mind is a phenomenal thing. It can go anywhere. What did Microsoft say? Where do you want to go today? That used to be their byword, right? So that's what your mind says. Where do you want to go today? To hell. I'd like to go to hell. I'd like to worry about every single thing and what everybody thinks of me and what I look like. And I want to worry about what's going to happen when I get older. Fine, have fun. I'm going to worry about whether I'm going to lose my memory. I'm going to worry about whether my kids are going to put me in a nursing home. I don't want to go to a nursing home. What are you doing? You're ruining your life. Or better yet, I don't like what he did. I never liked it. I can't handle it. When did he do it 30 years ago? What was he doing now? He's dead. You still want to carry that around inside your mind? The mind did not do that. That's not healthy. You did that. You were unable to handle your past. You were unable to handle aspects of your past. And so you, instead of letting them go, because you couldn't, you stored them inside. You suppressed them.
And now they make the foundation of your personal mind, and that's why it's so negative. Because you stored, I was asked the question, here's your test on this talk. If you store every single thing that ever disturbed you inside of you, what's it going to be like in there? Disturbed. Is it not disturbed? And you work as hard as you can to make it not be disturbed. Why don't you stop storing that stuff inside? Because you don't know how to. And that's the other technique. Notice, always teach really about positive thinking. Just think broader. Open it up. Then someday you will find out that it's not just the noise your mind's making, it's why it's making it. And you're going to see it's making it because you stored all this garbage inside. And you're trying to figure out how to not have it happen again or have it happen again. And you're just playing a pattern of your past garbage. And you finally wake up and say, I don't want it to be like that in here. Okay, then stop storing that stuff in there. That's the next technique. That's part of positive thinking, but it's actually much higher. Because it's why do you need positive thinking? Because I stored all this garbage in here. If you get rid of the garbage, it's going to be very nice in there. Don't you have things inside that you don't want coming back up, that you're afraid of, that nobody should talk about it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Well, that can't be in there. That's what makes the mind negative. So you learn to, every day, use positive thinking. But in the morning you wake up, this is a technique I teach. In the morning you wake up, meditate, fine, that's your business. But in the morning you wake up and you say, I'm on the planet Earth, tiny, 1.3 million. Don't kid yourself. Fit inside one star. I'm going to spin on my axis and I'm going to enjoy the day. But what if things happen that I don't like? I'm going to enjoy the day. I'm going to work with them. I'm going to neutralize them. I'm going to enjoy the day. You have the right to do anything you want in there. You're the only one in there. That's your house. So basically, you work with yourself. You wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to have fun today. I'm going to handle everything that happened today, and I'm not going to suppress anything. I'm going to let it come in. I'm going to try to raise it the best I can. I'm going to let it go. Offer it up, let it go, come in. Then at night, you sit down and see where you didn't do it. see how some areas that didn't work out so well. Before you go to sleep, let them go. Just neutral. It's called neutralizing. Yeah, but Sally should have said that. Really, she shouldn't have said that. Okay, but she did. Do you want that to determine your entire rest of your relationship with Sally, who you've known for 15 years, since 8th grade? Or do you want to sit there and say, I can handle it. I can handle it. That's a good mantra for the Western mind. I can handle this. I can handle this. I can handle this. And you just keep off. So at night, neutralize it, let it go, and go through every single day that way. And just start with the small things the best you can, and then bigger things will happen. And someday really big things will happen. Really big things. Life-changing, shattering, big, giant things that anybody be scared to death of. And you realize it's just another thing happening on the planet Earth. There are things happening all over the planet Earth, aren't there? This one's happening to me. So it's a good, what did Ramdas say? Use it to go to God. Use it to let go of your lower self so you remain conscious. And what happens, you start to feel this joy from back there. I'm going to have to close out, right? If you do this and keep letting go, then your personal mind won't distract you as much. Well, how would you like, which one of you would like to know that nothing could ever happen again for the rest of your life that you couldn't handle? That's better than saying, I don't want it to happen. I have to figure out what it can happen, how I stop it. No, it doesn't matter what happens. Ramakrishna said that. Helter skelter, come what may. Just bring it on. I can handle it. Okay? Now, that's beautiful. That's the thing to pray to God. God, please help me to be able to let go and handle whatever's happening so I can keep my consciousness high enough to raise up. And what will happen is you're going to find out you're filled with love. Why? Because that's what's back there. You're filled with inspiration for everything you do. You can't even wait to do it. Wash the dishes, take out the garbage, deal with the kid who caused the problem, whatever it is. You're just inspired because that is the nature of self. It's called Satchidananda. Ever heard of those words? That is the description. The yogis describe the self as Satchidananda, eternal conscious ecstasy. Buddha used the word nirvana. That is what's happening back there. But you're not back there. You're busy staring down here. You are back there. You're sitting in ecstasy staring down here. So it's not a matter of figuring out how to get back there. It's a matter of stop leaving. That is the essence of the spiritual path. We talked. People say I don't teach techniques. Maybe I don't. Maybe I do. But there's a technique for you. Okay? Work with yourself to raise yourself. And what will happen, because it's positive and open, you don't get distracted by it. If your mind is sitting there saying, boy, I love the sun, you don't get pulled down there. You get to enjoy the feeling of love. The next thing you know, the ascent takes place. All right. Very good. Thank you for listening. Jagraph.